Some might gonna call this the ultimate way to auto-attack people or whatever target you are attacking. Now, to give you some background information, for example, if you go into your options and set the auto-attack button, which is usually at C by default, right here. Let me blend in the mouse real quick so you guys can see what I'm pointing out. Where is it? There we go. So, usually the auto-attack button is at C. Default is C, and if you hit C in PvP and hold it down, so you know follow the target and attack it all the time, and you want to use a skill in between while you're holding down C, you might be able to get off, you might be able to use the skill on your target, but you will not follow the target anymore, even though you held down C. And this is really kind of annoying for me, at least, since you have to spam the autoattack button all the time in PvP once you use a skill. So pretty much all of the time, for assassins at least. And yesterday I got myself a new mouse. I don't know if I should call it an upgrade or a downgrade. It's a different mouse and I have to get used to it. But I've discovered something interesting. So much for the background. So another good example is I bought up the virtual keyboard right here, so you guys can see what I'm pressing, and that might explain stuff a little bit easier for you. But if you, for example, if you hold down C, right, and move to any other direction while you're holding down C, and let go of your W key, or whatever you're using to walk left and right, which is Q and E for me, you will not be able to attack the target once you release one of the movement buttons that you use to move around. So like this, for example, you hold down C, press W to go somewhere else, and your character will not follow the target anymore, which in PvP is annoying because you have to press C the entire time, or whatever the default button is for you to auto-attack people, right, to make sure that you can move around and keep track of your enemy. Which is, I think, the best way to weave in PvP and stuff like that. So, oh yeah, something more in terms of background information. This is the rocket cone that I've been using for, I think, 4 years now. This is the plus version, which has a few more features, if I'm not wrong. And I've been using the thumb buttons for ambush and the D-Spill pot, or greater healing potion. Don't ask why, it's a different story, since I had to roll back from Sork to Sin, and that was kind of different in terms of key bindings and stuff like that. And I did get myself the Logitech G700S, which is, you can use it as a wireless mouse, or you can plug in a cable. So for those, who don't like wireless mice, there's a cable option. And this one actually has 4 thumb buttons, so I was like, I can finally, put on some other skills on my mouse buttons, especially for the thumb buttons, so I don't have to press them on the keyboard anymore, which might be inconvenient or kind of feels weird, because it obviously depends on what kind of keyboard you're using. And yes, so this is very handy for me, at least. And I thought to myself, why not trying something different and bind the autoattack button on one of the thumb buttons, which I ended up doing. Which I can show you right here in a bit. So, as you can see, the rocket cone has just 2 thumb buttons, and the Logitech's G700S has 4 thumb buttons. So, whoops. I'm using pretty much the same keybinds as for the rocket cone, but also additional keybinds for Calming Whisper, which is on T for me, and the autoattack button, which is on C, which is the lower thumb button right here. So I did bind the autoattack button on the thumb button. And this is what I've discovered so far. I think the easiest way to use skills in PvP and use additional auto attacks without having to press the auto attack button the entire time, basically, in between using skills. So what happens here is, if I press the auto attack button on my mouse and do the same thing like I did before when I was talking about holding down the auto attack button and moving somewhere else, your character will not follow the target anymore, like this. I'm gonna do this with my mouse now. So, autoattack button, go somewhere else. And here's the magic. Somewhat. I'm pretty much holding down the autoattack button on my mouse itself, which I have, as I just mentioned before, bound to one of the thumb buttons. And what this allows me is to position myself a little bit better, or to follow people in PvP without having to press the autoattack button the entire time, which is obviously very annoying, and yeah, it can be a pain in the ass, to be honest, but I've never ever experienced PvP to be this much easier than by using the autoattack button on my mouse. So I'm probably gonna upload some videos that kinda shows you the difference between using the keyboard and the mouse. But if you have a mouse that is capable of, you know, that has programmable buttons, especially for the thumb buttons, for example, that you can reach fairly easy, then go ahead and try it yourself. You will not be disappointed. This is, I think, the best way for melee classes to bind the auto attack button to, without, you know, having to spam the auto attack button every single time in PvP. But for assassins, at least, this is the best solution that I came across with after, well, almost 2 years, I think. And since I didn't have the additional buttons on my old rocket cone, you know, I was like, yeah, let's try this, and I was actually very surprised. So try it yourself if you have the extra buttons on your mouse, and I'm gonna promise you, you will not be disappointed, and you might be as surprised as I was yesterday. And this really makes PvP just so much easier. So yes, once again, this is not really a tips and tricks video, but this is giving you probably some hints of what you could do in terms of settings, and this will make PvP, as I said before, so much easier. So stay tuned for more episodes, and also, please, I'd like to do more videos in the future, but I'm lacking in terms of content. So if you have any ideas on how I could create my content, then please go ahead and write me something in the comments below, and suggest something, maybe, I don't know, because it's really, I'm doing this, you know, by my own, and I don't really have an idea of what I could do and what I could provide to you guys, which might be interesting, and so on and so on. So if you have any suggestions, then please let me know, and I will read through the comments and cover that in my next few videos. So once again, I will catch you guys in my next upcoming episodes.